Our stream, just checking. Well, we seem to be having a little bit of connection issues right now, but this is CJ Vetter. We are over here at CCISD's board meeting, where they will be discussing some different budgeting topics, including the possible closure of Port Lavaca Elementary, as well as the merging of the upper classes in Seadrift. We're going to be going live for the meeting and giving you all of the details, as well as a follow-up report. Make sure you share the video and you like it, as well as spread the word to anybody who's interested in watching. We always appreciate your viewership, and we're going to go ahead and turn the camera around, and the meeting will start in just a few minutes. And this is in HJM. I believe they will have a microphone at the table that will be passed around if they need to share it. There will also be live comments. We're positioned pretty close to the microphone and speaker this time, so we shouldn't have any issues with audio. So fingers crossed. The meeting should be beginning momentarily. Go ahead and zoom in on the board meeting.
I'd like to call to order a regular meeting on the Board of Trustees, Calhoun County ISD. Today, Monday, July 20th, 26th, beginning at 6 p.m. in the HJM cafeteria, Elementary School, 605 North Commerce Street, Port Lavaca, Texas. We do have a quorum. Mr. Rossi is trying to join us on Zoom. She's having to download a new app, so as soon as she has that, Mr. Martinez will let us know. This time I'd like to invite you to stand for the invocation and please the flag.
Let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for your many blessings, Lord. We just thank you for the rain that you provided with us. We just ask now that you be in our presence, Lord, and give us wisdom and guidance as we address the agenda items before us, Lord. We just ask that you be with our first responders and our military, Lord, bring them back home safely to their families, Lord. We just ask that we have a safe return for our staff and our kiddos back to school. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible.
And he said, we do have a quorum. Mr. Rossi may be in and out, but she's on. First thing on our agenda is public comments. When necessary for effective meeting management or to accommodate large numbers of individuals wishing to address the board, the presiding officer may adjust the time allotted to each speaker. However, no individual shall be given less than 1 minute. So at this time, each speaker that I call up will have 1 minute. Board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. If at least one warning from the presiding officer and the individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the individual removed from the meeting. Yes, ma'am.
How many do we have signed up to speak?
23.
So could we at least afford them 2 minutes?
I have a motion by point of order from Ms. Alfred for 2 minutes. All in favor of giving the speakers 2 minutes, raise your hand. It carries. You will have 2 minutes.
All in favor, said Bill.
First up, Alyssa G.
Can't hear you.
No, Mike's not picking up. You better not start talking yet.
Hello. Can everyone hear me now? All right. First of all, I would like to start by thanking each member of the Board of Trustees, Michael Williams, Vincent Phillips, Cindy Alford, Bill Schrader, David Dorosic, Tyler McAfee, and Brian Batts. Thank you for your service to this district. This is often a thankless job, and I just want you all to know that you are appreciated, you are valued. This board has been led to believe that this is a choice between A, closing a school, and B, cutting teachers. The truth is, neither of those options will save CCISD any money this year. The teachers are the heart, soul, and backbone of this district and deserve nothing but praise, respect, and way more money than they get paid. Not to mention the fact that their contracts are already signed. That money is spent. As for closing POC, CFO Robin Martinez stated in last Monday's meeting that estimated savings for closing the school would be $18,000. That does not factor in the added cost of busing all Port Lavaca students to other campuses. As Robin stated, there is no real savings in closing POC this year. Teachers report back to school in 16 days. Students report back in 23 days. We have been able to plan nothing. Our kids don't know where they're going. Our teachers don't know where they're going. Mr. Schrader, respectfully, I believe it is time for you to step down. Your behavior during board meetings has been unacceptable. That is not what this district deserves. That is not what this county deserves. We appreciate your service, but I think your time has come. Thank you.
Leslie Morris.
Hello, my name is Leslie Morris. I'm a parent of
Can't hear you.
Hi, my name is Leslie. I'm a parent of a 26-27 pre-K student. I'm not good with public speaking. I have found salaries, which is the biggest issue in this district. This district cannot afford to lose not one fully certified teacher. We can though look into many other departments. And that blue photo I gave y'all, all these numbers are depicted from the last 3 school years. Maintenance staff, who has added 15 positions with a base salary increase of $564,187. We are now at a total of 36 maintenance positions. Yet, we still are paying companies to come and paint classrooms, change out water heaters in our teachers' housing, and many other things that I believe 1 out of our 36 maintenance staff should be able to complete. District administration has decreased staff by 2 positions, yet their base salary has increased by $426,465. Once again, why is the base pay increasing while we sit in a deficit? I understand everyone needs raises due to economic impacts, but in what history would a boss who's real corrupt and a real life give raises to employees who would have them sitting in a deficit? Transportation staff. While we have lost one staff position, the base pay of the department increased by $29,322. Again, asking why. We lost a position to save money, then it should have decreased within the last 3 school periods. Who has taken cuts? Our district teachers. We have lost 32 teacher masters in 3 school years. Their base pay has decreased by $258,644. But with supplemental pay increases to the rescue of $938,729, that brought the total pay up to $679,822, even with losing those teachers.
Thank you, ma'am. Namely, Aguilar.
Good evening, Superintendent Carbo and members of the board. I am Naomi Aguilar, a student of Cedar School, and I have been going to Cedar School for almost 10 years now. And I do not have any numbers or facts to present today, but I do have to say that I came here to represent the years of history, growth, and community built inside of Cedar School. The amount of advancement and growth that has happened in that one building is an unimaginable and irreplaceable amount. To the people of Cedar, the school is not just an item on a budget sheet or a spending limit. It's a place where we have spent some of the best years of our lives. Some families have had multiple generations go to Cedar School, and some people went to this school as students and came back as teachers, and I can tell you exactly why. It is because of the welcoming atmosphere that is at Cedar School. Everyone at that school, every faculty member, every teacher, even every student there, has taught me things that will stick with me for the rest of my life. That's why the middle school of Seadrift should not be closed down, so that current generations can finish what they have started, and the new generations can come in and start their own journeys of growth. Thank you for taking the time to hear me today.
Stephen Boriski.
He's on his way.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees. My name is Stephen Boriski, and I am a husband, a father, a taxpayer, and someone who deeply cares about the future of Port O'Connor and our children. Over the past several weeks, our community has spent countless hours searching for answers. Unfortunately, many of them are still asking the same basic questions we were over a month ago. Tonight, there are 23 days from today to the start of school. 23 days is simply not enough time for this board to make a decision of this magnitude. Our families have been robbed of what should have been a peaceful summer. Instead of preparing our children for the school year, we spent weeks living in uncertainty. Our teachers should be planning lessons, setting up classrooms. Instead, they're left wondering what this year will look like. That uncertainty didn't have to happen. What concerned me most is that there still doesn't appear to be a clearly defined plan for whatever direction this board ultimately decides to take. There's still so many unanswered questions. Where will every student attend? How will transportation be handled? What additional transportation costs will the district incur? How much instructional time will our youngest students lose each day? And what impact could uncertainty have on enrollment if families begin looking at other options? And what will those enrollment changes ultimately mean for the district and the district's finances? These are questions that should already have clear answers before a decision of this magnitude is even considered. Port O'Connor Elementary isn't a failing school. It's an A-rated campus that consistently performs among the best in this district and is recognized as one of the top performing elementary schools in Texas. We're being asked to weigh significant long-term consequences while hearing that the projected budget savings this year are approximately $18,000. Before making any decision, shouldn't every question be thoroughly explored?
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Carrie Skulak, I'm sorry if I said the name wrong.
Good evening. First, thank you for volunteering all of your time for being here. We do appreciate your dedication in serving the district. We know this is not easy. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but this afternoon, just hours before the meeting, CCISD released information on social media, and instead of giving me confidence, it left me with more questions. It made me ask, where was this transparency a month ago, 2 months ago, or even 2 years ago? Transparency hours before a vote isn't transparency, it's too late. I'm really nervous, sorry. This is gonna be my time. Okay, so after that post was published though today, I had several teachers reach out to me about a lot of the information that was inaccurate, and they just didn't believe any of it, and they were just honestly seeing red. It's not fair to the community, it's not fair to our teachers, it's not fair to any of our students. I'm a nervous wreck.
You got it. You got it.
So I have one question. If you guys were sitting, I hope I get a chance to speak again because I'm all over the place. If you were sitting where we are tonight as a parent asking you guys to help decide your child's future, would you honestly feel that you had enough clear, accurate, and consistent information to make this decision tonight? Closing these schools should be the last option, not the first. Once it's gone, it's not coming back. Students will feel the effects of this decision tomorrow, but the budget won't. It's not going to change something overnight. I'm not sure if Xander spoke yet, but she did present the Marine STEM program that can encourage enrollment and create new opportunities for our students, and I hope you guys will consider that before just deciding to close the schools. It's just simple, just table this, take the time to answer the questions. There's more misinformation than anything out there, more contradictions than anything out there. Just explore every reasonable option and make sure that we're the best decision for every child and teacher and parent in the district. Thank you. That's it.
Brandy Boriski.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. 23 days. That is how many days remain before our students are scheduled to walk back in their classrooms. Yet our students, parents, and teachers are still living with uncertainty. Children don't know what their year will look like. Parents don't know how to prepare their families. Teachers can't confidently plan curriculum, organize classrooms, or focus to do what they do best, which is educating our children. No school community should be in this position just weeks before the first day of school. Tonight, I would like to ask a simple question of all of you guys and gals. Tonight, I want to know what other options have truly been explored. As trustees, have you been presented with every possible solution? Have you asked your administration to think beyond one campus? Have we exhausted every opportunity to strengthen this district before considering changing one of its highest performing schools? Administration, have we truly done the homework to understand how we got here? More importantly, how do we move forward? Because when I look at Port Lavaca Elementary, I don't see a problem to solve. I see an A-rated campus. I see one of the highest performing schools in CCISD. And I see one of the top performing elementary schools in the great state of Texas. So I ask you, why wouldn't we fight to preserve one of our district's greatest success stories? Last week, the budget workshop revealed something very important. Robin said, our projected budget savings for the year would be approximately $18,000. $18,000. That is not a long-term solution to the financial challenges facing the district. It certainly isn't enough to justify uncertainty that hundreds of families and employees have endured during the past several weeks. The financial issues, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Lauren Griffith.
Good evening, members of the board, and thank you for those who are here this evening. I'm a parent of 2 Port O'Connor children and 1 future Port O'Connor student. There have been several great ideas circulating that lessen the deficit our ISD is facing. However, they seem disregarded, leaving only the agenda to cut Port O'Connor and Seadrift middle grades along with athletics and band. It is very apparent that we are in a bad position due to the deficit. However, it's also very apparent that there are far better options to lessen that deficit other than closing a community school that will ultimately further damage attendance for the entire ISD. Mr. Schrader, you set a level of fear for our students when last month you sat at that very table and stated that cuts are coming. Since payroll is the majority of our expenses, the real cuts need to come from administration, where we have secretaries making more than teachers with substantial tenure. Has that been taken into account? Has anybody thought of that? Has a pay freeze been thought of? Expenditures need to be whittled down as well. If you were to shift focus into closing Hope High School by reabsorbing the flex students and DAEP being sent to Seadrift, where there's already a resource room available for them, you'd save roughly the same amount of money as you would by closing POC. And while you're moving kids around, go ahead and move the Magnolia kids to Seadrift and Port O'Connor as well. It would double the attendance in Port O'Connor and further student-to-teacher ratio burden and avoid further student-to-teacher debt ratio in Port Lavaca schools. Excuse me. I strongly urge you to take the time, consider everything that has been brought to your attention tonight and beforehand. Do not leave anything left unread, unfiltered, and unseen. Find better options for what y'all are trying to do tonight and open your minds. Thank you.
Jason Cook.
Good evening, everyone. Over the last several weeks, our community has become divided over difficult decisions. Emotions are high and understandably so. Schools are more than buildings. They represent generations of memories, pride, and identity. But if we're going to move forward, we have to separate emotion from reality. The reality is we are facing a financial challenge that cannot be ignored. We did not arrive here because of one board, one superintendent, or one budget cycle. We got here through years of changing enrollment, rising operating costs, and decisions that are made over time. Blaming one group may feel satisfying, but it does not solve the problem. Leadership requires making decisions that are sometimes unpopular today, so our students have opportunities tomorrow. From what has been presented publicly, closing the Port O'Connor campus and consolidating 7th and 8th grade students in Seadrift appears to be one of those difficult decisions. It is not a decision many people want, but difficult does not always mean wrong. If it improves operating efficiency while maintaining educational opportunities for students, then it deserves serious consideration based on facts, not emotions. However, consolidating alone cannot be the entire solution. If we are asking communities to sacrifice, every part of this organization should be willing to do the same. We should review organization structures to ensure it reflects today's needs, not yesterday's. We truly cannot ignore the long-term solutions. If we truly want to protect our schools, this conversation has to extend beyond the boardroom. We also need to get community involvement, business development. We should also learn from the opportunities we've missed with large industries and tax rates, abatements, and discussions education should have at the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robert Anderson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 1 month from now, it will mark my 30th year teaching and coaching in Calhoun County Independent School District, and 29 of those years teaching and coaching in Seadrift. I came from San Antonio, where I grew up, went to college, and taught and coached for 3 years before moving to Calhoun. My cousins Ralph and Minnie Cormier recruited me to come here, and Pat Durasic welcomed me. My family brought me to a new family. I knew before I reached my classroom or coached my first game at Cedar, I was going to be up for a challenge because as I stood on the football practice field waiting to meet the athletic director, Coach Walksmith, one of the coaches introduced himself to me. He said, "Hey, you new coach?" I said, "I am." "You gonna coach at Travis?" "No, actually Cedar." "Oh, Cedar." That's what he said. I told myself, if we play you, we're gonna kick your tail. I knew Cedar was marked as an underdog, and I was already willing to fight for the community's respect. Several years later, I came to Calhoun and taught English and coached basketball and football. I loved doing both because Calhoun reminded me so much of Cedar, a school that was an underdog, and I was ready to fight for it. Unfortunately, I was caught in a change of coaching staffs and told I would be going back to the middle school to coach. I was told I would be going to Travis. And without hesitation, I looked at the athletic director and I said, "Sir, if it's okay with you, I'd rather go back to Cedar." And he said, leaned back in his chair, "Bobby, I thought Cedar was a place you go to send someone to get rid of." And I didn't get mad or whatever. I just looked at him and I said, from my heart, "Sir, Cedric is a place that's like a family." So I have much more to share and say, but how can you stuff 30 years of teaching and coaching in a community like Cedric into a 2-minute speech? I just implore you to keep Cedric School open and the middle school intact. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry Maddox.
To the Board of Trustees, to be taking such a radical resolution for resolving budget deficits for the whole district to just Cedric and Port Lavaca seems to be a very narrow and unresearched decision solution. Quite frankly, I'm surprised this has been put back on the agenda so soon. I would suggest you go back to your budget, do some serious research for finding waste district-wide. I'm sure you'll find many places to save. To solve problems in your budget, this is no way to start with. Here's our resolution. It must start with transparency. You go to each campus principal and staff, explain your problems, and ask for feedback. Then, very important, you set up open public forums at each campus, meeting the public face-to-face, eyeball to eyeball, to explain your research and reasoning. People will respect your openness and sharing information. You must earn their trust and ask for their feedback. I promise you, when you share problems to mamas that involve their children, you will be amazed at their problem-solving skills. I've seen that in Port Lavaca this weekend. I know if you look hard, you will make wiser and smarter decisions. Ask yourself, is this a critical need or a wish list? Just in the short time I did some research, and here are some of the items I thought that could be savings. A drug dog costs money to be housed, fed, handled, and hauled in a proper vehicle and a caretaker. Not to mention a few months out of the year, the dog is not used. I have heard you can rent a drug dog cheaper. Or, does a football practice field really need an automatic sprinkler system this year? Or could it not be watered manually? For now, I'm sure there's plenty of dads who would be glad to help.
Thank you, Mr. Maddox.
Or did we really need smartwatches for the football team? Was this a need or wish list? And one last thing, I'll finish. We have 2 retired respected superintendents that live here locally. They solve many of the same budget problems, leaving money in the budget. Reach out to them. I'm sure they'd be glad to share ideas. They have very valuable knowledge of Calhoun County ISD budget problems. They left this district with plenty of money, and they have the same problems y'all are going through now.
Thank you, Mr. Maddox. Chris Matt.
Good evening. President Schrader, members of the board, my name is Chris Mount. A few days ago, I sent each of you an email regarding the proposed closure of Port Lavaca Elementary. I was reminded school finance is complex and I don't know much about it. I agreed immediately. Rather than rely on my own opinions, I sat down with people who understand school finance, actually a school board auditor. They understood public auditing, district operations, and together I reviewed the budgets, the payroll, the records, the board materials, TA data. That review did not answer every question. It raised important new ones. I believe when a decision is irreversible, unanswered questions are not a reason to move faster. They are a reason to slow down. They are a reason to slow down and observe. Years ago, I served on an elected board, and I learned that our job was not simply to approve recommendations. Our responsibility was to exercise independent judgment as a board member, ask difficult questions, and make certain that every reasonable alternative had been examined before making a permanent decision. I respectfully ask each of you to apply that same discipline here. If there is a requirement that makes this vote unavoidable tonight, the community deserves a very clear explanation. If not, then I respectfully ask that you keep Port O'Connor Elementary open for the 26 to 27 school year and use that time for a full public workshop-driven review of reasonable alternatives. Good governance is not measured by how quickly by how quickly permanent decisions are made. It is measured by whether we're willing to ask every important question first. Thank you for your time, your service, and your consideration. And I will say, no matter what your budget does or what money comes in the coffers, as an administration and as a board, we have a spending problem, not just a budget problem. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Harvey Morris.
Hi, my name is Darby Morris. I don't know any of you well, I know Evan, but here's what I'd like to say. I know that emotions are running high. For me, I don't have any kids in the system. I'm not from here. What I would say is that I'm a little late to the party. I went to the last board meeting, and I did hear that the CFO said that it would be $18,000 that would be saved for this school year. As a taxpayer, what I would ask is that if you ran all the numbers, you do everything that you can, I would say that as a taxpayer, I would ask that you would keep the school open for this year, because that's what I heard, unless you tell me different. Because there's some little kids that it's what they say, 23 days or whatever. Keep it open because it's only, it's $18,000, but you're talking $4 million. And then if you come back to me in the middle of the year and say, we've done everything that we can, like we ran the numbers, we've done everything, then we got to close the school. And I would say that if it was however many schools you have, if it's Port Lavaca, if it's wherever, I would say the exact same thing, that you're disrupting these little kids. And like, if there's a single mom or whatever, how are they going to do this? I wouldn't. I was a single mom, and if you told me that I got to figure it out 23 days, that's not right. I mean, it's a lot, and you shouldn't do that. Anyway, thank you.
Tammy Rigamani.
I won't be needing my speech that I wrote for tonight. I'm just going to speak from my heart and give you a piece of my mind, honestly. There's a lot of things that have been brought up with ways that you can to fight this deficit in our budget. You've been given numerous different alternatives to closing a school or to moving students out of their local community. I came to this because of what it would do to our community. No one has come up with any economic impact statement. Do you realize what it's going to do to a small town like Port Lavaca? We are already needing affordable housing. How are people going to bring affordable housing? We have tremendous growth all the way around us. But when you take our small school, you're going to take away employees from business owners, from small business owners that are barely making it anyway. That's like Darby. She has a business there. How is she going to have the traffic and the employees to go to work for her? So I reiterate, Mr. Schrader, it is time for you to step down. And it is time for each and every one of you trustees to step up and be the leaders that you were elected to be, not followers. Mr. Cardwell, you have got to get this spending under control. It's outrageous. We put it out there everywhere. We show every one of you. The budget is not going to get balanced until you do what you need to do. And affecting small communities like this, harming them just so you can take the easy way out is not it. Why move students out of a campus that's operational, up and going? You have 2 campuses in Port Lavaca, Alcoa Street, and that's the whole entire campus that Hope High School and your flex department's in. Move them, adjust them, sell those properties. If we can't find a deed on Port O'Connor. Can anybody tell me if you're going to be able to sell that property or not? Do you even know before you decide to close this school down and just pay to have the yard mowed like you do at 2 other campuses, one that doesn't even house students? You're given alternatives. Please consider.
Joanne McDonough.
It's actually Joni McDonough.
Sorry.
That's okay. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. Over the past month, the proposed closure of Port O'Connor Elementary has become the focus of our community. Since the June meeting, and again tonight, this item has been added to the agenda with little advance notice. Our community has sought answers on shared information, the STEM package. On social media, emotions have been high. I see the dividing of sides in the district instead of working together for a common goal to maximize the potential of a school instead of closing it. Tonight, I especially want to address the newer board members. I ask respectfully one simple question: why the rush? It has been a month since the original vote. Before making a decision that could permanently impact our community, I ask that each of you personally review, research, financial information on alternatives that have been presented. As a former mortgage banker, I know that schools are more than buildings. They are economic anchors. When Point Comfort School closed, property values suffered. Port O'Connor is a smaller community, and our local school is one of the reasons families choose to move there. Closing it would affect more than a budget. It would affect our future of our town. The question being asked by our community are reasonable. If the district has moved from a financial surplus, what is the reason? The district is also considering asking taxpayers to support future bonds. I would, as a taxpayer, be hard-pressed to give you a green light, knowing this matter, how this matter was handled. Trust is earned through transparency, accountability, and through leadership. I feel like a hornet's nest has been poked and the wasps are stinging. Common sense would be backed up. Let's settle and have good conversations. It's 20 days until school starts again, and I feel like we're being bullied. It's a bullied decision.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Melissa Canales.
As a child, you look at your elders to build your ideas on what qualities and characteristics you value.
My experience taught me that important characteristics include respect for others, behaving honorably, and allowing others to trust in you. As the authors of the proposed changes to POC Elementary and the consolidation of the 7th and 8th grade classes to Travis Middle School, I searched for these qualities and found that they were lacking. Tough decisions need to be made to reconcile the budget with the available resources. However, the options that were decided upon will hurt the staff, students, and communities at POC and Cedric. If these are truly honorable choices, then those that believe this to be true should have shown respect to these individuals by holding meetings to explain the reasoning behind them, meeting with the staff of the affected schools, then with the communities with which they reside, demonstrates respect, honor, and trust. Also allowing these students, teachers, and community members a time frame by which to accept the changes and make the best decisions for themselves and their families would demonstrate these qualities. None of these actions were taken. Therefore, respect, honor, and trust are non-existent in this situation. I would also like to identify a misconception that has been a focal point to some Facebook posts on this subject. Many have expressed that the students of Cedric would be allowed more opportunities at Travis Middle School. The first instance to prove this false lies with the girls who participate in athletics. For example, Cedric has 20 female students who would like to play volleyball. Every one of them will make the team and be allowed the experience of teamwork and competition. At Travis, these students will be required to try out for the team, eliminating the majority of them, thus taking opportunity away from them. Additionally, every 6th grade student that desires to play football may do so at Cedric School. When the 7th and 8th grade classes are moved to Travis, each of these students will lose the opportunity. CCYFL registration has already been closed, so that argument is moot as well. Just for reference, there may be the next Ashton Sonado, Gavin Reyes, Gunnar Martinez, Talon Henson, or Jesus Cadamillo in that group of students. Transportation will also be an issue. Students will only be allowed opportunities if their parents can and will make trips to Port Lavaca, unless CCISD is willing to provide buses to return them to Cedric.
Thank you, Mr.
Some
Hernandez.
activities
Janice Stadler.
I don't know why it is so hard for some people to say Janice Albright stole. 1 month ago, I challenged this board. Go do your research and come back. The research has been done by the community. But the board still wants, somebody, maybe not the board, somebody still wants to vote exactly as it wanted to a month ago. We need better. We can do better. We have done better in the past. Calhoun County Independent School District has been a leader ever since it established itself way back, 1919. Port Lavaca and Cedric have been a major part of that leadership. Judy Anderson is here tonight. Some of you know about the math program developed in Port Lavaca, a math program that has led to successes over 30 some odd years, so that some of the people here tonight were 4th graders tutoring in Port Lavaca to 2nd graders 20 years ago when I brought Central Texas School down here to observe how good it was. We can do better if we will. Or we can take the easy way out, close Port Lavaca, and say, oh, poor babies, you just don't have enough students, so just go away, we'll bus you. That is not an equitable educational decision. Powderhorn State Park is opening within 5 years. Port Lavaca could grow. It could bring you more tax money. It won't if you kill it school, because nobody will want to live there. Look at the future. Plan. I've been bragging about Calhoun County High School, Calhoun County Independent School District, ever since I graduated from this district in 1964. I would hate to think that after tonight, I will be ashamed to mention this particular school district.
Thank you, ma'am. Christine Sines.
Sorry, I'm still trying to get it together to adjust it to the 2-minute time frame. Okay, my name is Christine Sines. I know this decision is emotional because Port O'Connor is more than a school. It's a community. We spent months discussing this issue. Some have asked why a decision needs to be made now. The answer is simple. Every month we delay, the district continues spending more money to repair and maintain a building that may no longer be financially sustainable. It is our decision, if this decision is postponed another year, those repair costs continue to grow, just so one campus can remain open for another year. We're fighting the inevitable. Our school is in a $4 million deficit. Tonight is not about deciding how, tonight is about deciding how we move our district forward. Bringing Port O'Connor Elementary up to standard for our students, for the students that we deserve, would require more than $1.5 million in repairs and improvements. This district also estimated that closing the campus could avoid more than $1.8 million in future facility costs. At some point, we have to ask ourselves whether it is better to continue investing in this school or investing in the education of every student in CCISD. The proposed budget shows that reductions are being made across the district. Departments, programs, and campuses are all being asked to do more with less because that's the financial reality that we face. Meanwhile, teachers at JR are preparing for classrooms of 25 to even 26 students, while other campuses operate on much smaller classroom sizes. Classroom equity matters. Every student deserves access to these same opportunities. The question before us isn't whether every school is important. They all are. The question is whether our limited resources are being used the way that benefits the greatest number of students. As educators, we are asked every day to make decisions based on what's best for our children. Tonight, I ask you to do the same. The decisions we make tonight won't solve every challenge we face, but they will begin to change the direction of our district. We didn't arrive at this moment for one person or one decision. The financial challenges we face have been building for years. Past superintendents made these decisions long ago when they had to close Point Comfort Elementary.
Thank you, Ms. Sines.
Thank you.
Cindy Cross.
Hi, Cindy Krause from Olivia. I'm going to start my timer. I'm finishing up Leslie Morris's. Custodial staff, we lost 2 positions, which show they decreased the base pay to a total pay of $19,551. I don't count educational aides or campus office clerical because these positions are being moved into another non-exempt auxiliary included volunteer role, which has skyrocketed within the past 3 school years. Other non-exempt auxiliary volunteer salaries have increased base pay by $2,238,499 in those 3 school years. Along with that role increase of supplemental pay of $55,098, which brings the total pay increase to $2,293,597. I have found that roughly 62 educational aides have been moved into this role from 23-24 school year and the 24-25 school year, while adding more educational aides is the educational aides role. I have also found campus office clerical who have moved into this role within these last 2-3 years. So looking at those numbers, they aren't real savings due to a shift in the roles. I would just like to ask you, each and every one of you, I go to every board meeting 7 years and I've been pushing on the reading level. Make sure you've read the information, make sure you can back it up. $800,000 went down to $18,000. If that's the case, are you ready to make that decision tonight? Are you ready to go ahead and make sure that this campus can stay open, you can work with the community, find the best way? What about another school of choice like Hope? Get the kids to do something different. But in the end, the decision is yours, and you have to rest easy knowing that you did everything you did and you did not leave anything on the table. Just like you don't want to leave anything on the field. Have you been out there except for the yearly board meeting? I noticed that that's still on the schedule this year. So are we going to see you in December, or are you going to move those into town? Thank you.
Rex Griffith.
I'm not going to sit here and fluff your pillow and tell you thank you for your service. I'm here to talk about these PIMS reports. My wife sent me some information wanting help to look for some. I'm a construction manager and I manage on a daily basis multiple $million projects. I was shocked when I went to look and not what she was looking for, but I just kind of started looking at things and I was shocked to find that POC makes up less than 1% of your expenditures. When I'm looking at a job going over budget, I ain't looking at the guy that's out there with the porta cans for $5 a day. I'm looking at the guy charging me $1 million for the backhoes. Why is he charging me $1 million? Not the guy, not the 1% guy. I'm not looking at that guy. I'm gonna go visit the guy who's 55%. And I'm going to ask him, why can you not do this job cheaper for me? Why should I have to, pay extra for all these folks that are standing around? And I'm not accusing anybody of standing around. I'm just telling you what we do when I pull up on a job and I see folks standing around. That's usually the guy who's the 55% of my budget for some reason. It always works out that way. What I'm saying is, why go for the low-hanging fruit? Why don't we do the tough job and go through all the data and say, why are we writing one individual at 24, 25 personal checks for $500,000? $500,000. Not to his business, not to his stores, to him. If my company wrote me $500,000 worth of checks, you know what happened to me? That's right, 100%.
Thank you, sir. Colin G.
So to piggyback on what Mr. Rex just said, and hear you. To piggyback on. How about now? Anything?
Hello.
All right, to piggyback on what Rex just said, while our maintenance staff increased over 50% in the last 3 years, we continue to outsource a massive amount of maintenance, coded maintenance work. We're not talking CapEx, we're not talking major projects, we're talking maintenance work that we have a maintenance staff that increased 15, I believe it was 15 personnel over the last 3 years. Why is this happening? We've also spent $770,000 on pins for FFA. I don't know about y'all, but many of y'all are country folks in here, and it doesn't cost almost $750,000 to build pins. What Rex said is we have evidence of several checks that don't match the PO numbers. The company names are on the POs, yet the checks are going to personal individuals, not the companies. This sends up all kinds of red flags that brings up suspicion of illegal activities. So on that, we need to look at doing a forensic audit, not your typical run-of-the-mill audit, a forensic audit to find where the actual holes in this sinking ship are and fix the problem for good. That benefits the entire ISD. Not one school, not one campus. That benefits everybody. And that's a sustainable solution for the long term. Next, where is the approved bond money that has been allocated for POC building improvements? AC in the gym, parking lot, you name it. That has not ever been shown up. There's been nothing done. The bus, yeah, so we'll skip that for now
Thank you,
because
Mr.
the beaver
Chief.
went off. But extend this timeline to let us help the district pursue alternative funding programs for the proposed STEM program and potentially create a VOTEC system within the high school to provide skilled workforce for the community to benefit everybody in
Thank
this
you.
county.
Thank you, sir. Teddy Laws.
Just down to my size. Wow. Follow those two. Everything he said, I'm pretty sure it's accurate. I've been coming to these meetings every so often, the same old. I've been in business 45 years. I've had to balance a budget every year. If you folks can't balance the budget for what you got, somebody needs to be gone. And being gone, talk to the last meeting about firing people. That's a tough job, I know. I've had to do it. But if you manage your money right, you don't have to. Somebody ain't looking at the budgets. Somebody ain't looking at all the figures. Somebody's not doing the job. And all of y'all supposed to be in education. That should be pretty easy. I'm a student with Janice Albright. Her and I went to school together. She went on to college. I went in the Navy. I went with the School of Hard Knocks. And the School of Hard Knocks is a whole lot harder than some of the other jobs.
Agreed.
Y'all need, you need to go back. All these years I've been coming over here, same old. You can't get a budget right. Do y'all even know where the money comes from? Your government entity. You have no money, period. Except for what you steal from the taxpayer. And my taxes in Port Lavaca are outrageous. Okay? And they're still going up. Every time I do something with my store, the appraisal district comes in, oh yeah, better. Goes my taxes. Y'all come up, oh, more money, spend more. Folks, don't do that. The worst part about all this though, the money, that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is those pre-K to 5-year-old kids. The mental impact it's going to have on them, getting up early in the morning and riding that damn bus.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
And that's going to be on your conscience for their press all around.
Xander Knapp.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. As most of y'all know, I presented a STEM packet I presented the option of changing Port O'Connor's campus to a magnet status. And those have a specialized curriculum and generally boost enrollment. That just seems to be something that hasn't been addressed. We've got a lot of budget issues and all of that, but looking forward into the future, addressing our enrollment, how can we make ISD better for the long term, not just a short term. That's what the STEM program was about. Given our particular location, we have a unique opportunity with the organizations and the individuals that are already ready to participate in something like this. That also addresses some of the retention that we have in the county. A lot of people, they get here, they graduate, they move off, they don't come back. This is a way to bring that back in. Calhoun County's enrollments dropped nearly 19% over the last decade. That's not just one singular, issue. Our county's population has been shrinking, working families are leaving. It's not just a Port O'Connor problem, it's all of our problems. The proposal brings something new, and studies show that it works. It's a chance to start smaller, on a smaller campus, at a smaller scale, watch it grow, see how it works, and then if you want to, you can implement that across the other campuses, just using their strengths where they are, And for us, it's funded. I made a budget sheet. We have a lot of donors already that are willing to upfront the money to cover those costs, so it costs nothing to the district. You don't need TEA approval for the magnet status, you just have to put it to a vote.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right,
Appreciate it. I can't read the writing of Beard. Mr. or Mrs. Beard? Mrs. Beard?
Trying to emotionalize this. My name is Michelle Beard. I'm a parent, a taxpayer, a new enrollee in Calhoun County ISD. My family represents exactly what this district says it wants. New families choosing to invest in this community. We chose this district. We chose this school. We chose it 8 years ago. My kids just started last year. Mr. Cardwell, what specific actions have you been taking to increase enrollment in this ISD? What programs have you created? What partnerships have you pursued? What efforts have you made to attract families like mine before recommending a closure of a school? That should be the last thing on the list. I've never heard such a thing in my life. And I come from a very, very poor community of 500 people and 103 students, and we made the ends meet. And that school was never closed. Since you took leadership in this district in 2022, you have led us straight into a deficit of $4.4 million deficit to this district. During that time, you said the money needed to increase rather than decrease, or even remain steady. What steps have been taken during your tenure to evaluate the spending growth, to reduce unnecessary costs, prioritize, reduce, and directly impact our students? Our students bleed into this one. When we talk about reducing costs, we are not talking about cutting teachers and adding $1.8 million to it. Get your numbers right. It's $18,000 a year to run this school. Yeah, you're going to close it one-time payout. What about all the other years? We can reduce all this debt, and you led us right there for 4 years. We'll be back there again in 4 years with your leadership style. I believe in tightening the belt, and believe me, I have. I used to run companies of $15 million a year. I left that place to come here and raise my family, and I have tightened the belt. Sir, where is your belt tightening? And sir, where's your leadership? Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda items. The motion is not in the book, so did you find it? Oh, okay.
Could y'all speak into your microphone, please?
I don't have a microphone, sorry. This last individual, is she certified for T-test? The last individual on this list for our T-test appraisers, is she certified?
No, Ms. Heffernan. So yeah, she should be at her T-test. Yeah, she should be at her T-test.
They are currently going through the consent agenda.
Anything else, Ms. Heffernan? I have a motion on the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items. I have a motion by Mr. Batts to approve the consent agenda items. I have a second. Second by Mr. Phillips. All in favor? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is the May financial statement.
We are now moving on to the regular agenda, starting with the May 2026 financial statements. Oh, of course.
Okay, the financial report on page 28, starting on 28 before vote, that's as of May. The revenue portion of it, the main funds that we look at are the 199, the general fund. That's where all your tax payments and all your realized income is coming in at. And as of May, we've received $43,169,552. And then also you want to look at food services, another fund that the board approved and has oversight on. And
I believe Dana is currently zooming in.
We've realized $2.2 million. That's about 75% of what's been budgeted. And all the funds combined, the realized revenue, this is including federal funds and stuff, and those are
the federal funds, a lot of the stuff runs to 11 and stuff like that. It's kind of a wash. You get the revenue, it's usually a month behind. We ask for the revenue from TEA, and they send us the revenue based on expenditures the prior month. So right now we're sitting at a realized revenue about $53,951,608. Now on the next page, these are the expenditures, the budget expenditures, and 199, the budget expenditures are $47,979,000. And year-to-date expenditures, not including encumbrance. Encumbrance, what that is that stuff that there's current POs in for, and orders and stuff like that have been made, and it hasn't been realized yet. They get expensed once you can receive the products, and then they get expensed out, and the expense shows up on this report once the check is written. So the year-to-date expenditures so far, including payroll, is $31,131,427. And for this period in May, for the month, the expenditures were $5.3 million in the general fund. Now, if you look at the very bottom, across the whole district, with the federal funds included in there, the budget is $71,585,000, and the year-to-date expenditures are $45,627,233. Now, the majority of expenditures that just have to come, that are still to come out of this, is salaries. You're gonna see the jump in expenditures in the next few months because of salaries that need to be coming out of here. Salaries are running about $2.5 million per month. Is there any questions?
Some of these expenditures that are coming out now because we're getting close to school starting, is some of this for the 26-27 school year? Well, for May, it probably will.
No, the expenditures you're going to see for that, well, what they do is the campuses and stuff evaluate their budgets at the end of the year, and I start telling them we're going to cut off budget. You need to evaluate what you're going to need for the start of the following year. A lot of that's probably in the encumbrance row, because the stuff either hasn't been ordered. They put POs in, so that means they've encumbered it. Yes, it's booked as an encumbrance, but the expense probably hasn't occurred yet because they haven't gotten that stuff delivered to the schools yet for the start of the school year. So that will be, once it's delivered and the bill's paid, then it will be expensed.
Motion for the financial statement is on page 27. Have a motion by Mr. McAfee, second by Mr. Nance. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, Ms. Martinez, the budget amendments.
Going to item B.
Okay.
Budget
this
amendments
first
for
budget
2025-26.
Is for $31,000, and this is for it's for our SPED program, the residential services. I know in previous board meetings I've spoken with you about, we have one student that's going to be going to a state facility, and the school is mandated to pay for that child's education no matter where he goes because he's a resident of Calhoun County. We prepared for the residential placement for next year's budget. We've added money to next year's budget for this, but the child has started residential placement now. So we have to start, and that wasn't in this original budget because when we first budgeted, you know, at the beginning of the school year, he wasn't going to state residential placement. So this is just to finish out, what they did is they evaluated their SPED budget, pulled where they could to pay, and this is just the balance of what's left to make sure that that expense is covered. And it's $31,000 coming out of fund balance.
And you said we get some of this back, but it takes a couple of years.
This year, actually, I just talked to Ms. Kaepernick before this. We have to meet a certain threshold to get reimbursement, and it's around $60,000 to $70,000. And these 2 months we will not get reimbursed for because it's going to fall under that threshold. But next year, for the whole year of residential, we will get some of that money back because it will be above and beyond. What they're saying is the school district should have some, liability in paying for the residential payment, but they'll pay for part of it. And this didn't go over the threshold to where they think it's still our share. So the $60,000 or so that we're paying for this year will not be reimbursed. But next school year, 26-27, should partially be reimbursed. Or do you want me to keep on going? I thought, are they all of them being approved at one time? Okay, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you guys to approve the first one. Okay, the second budget amendment is coming out of fund balance. This is for legal services. What it is, there's money to move around within the budget. But what happens is when there's services above and beyond, or like expenditures above and beyond that's been originally budgeted, then we come for an amendment just so the board is aware that this is an extraordinary situation. It's not that we've exhausted the whole entire budget, the superintendent budget or whatever budget. It's just letting you aware that this is not something that was originally budgeted. So I'm coming to you asking you if we can rebudget some more money in legal fees, because in that category we have ran out of fees. So any questions about that amendment? Okay, then the last amendment, this is for, this is a state mandated new law coming in effect through UIL, where we have to monitor the weather, and if it falls below a certain, or it goes above a certain humidity level, and correct me if I'm misquoting this, and I'm not really sure about the whole logistics of it, but this is to cover that weather monitoring system that's state mandated, and it's for $4,700.
And since they mandated that we're going to get anything from the state,
Oh. Wishful thinking. Let's hope so, but.
any questions for Ms. Martinez? I'm sorry.
Per the Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551042, I would like to address the board at this time. We have been made aware that Port Lavaca Elementary has been cut down to 4 teachers across 7 grade levels. I'm curious if this budget reflects that, or if it is still counting on 7 teachers.
Okay, the motion for Robin's amendments are on page 30.
I move to approve budget amendments 07-001, 07-002, and 07-003 as presented.
I have a motion by Mr. Batts, second by Mr. Williams. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is to consider and approve the board operating procedure. One item on page 36 under developing board meeting agenda. Under item A1, that talking to the attorney today, that number there should be changed from 5 to 3. Under item Roman numeral 1, A1, it says board president and one officer may add it to the agenda after the 6-day deadline as long as it meets the 3 business day rule. Right. Anyone have anything else on the board operating procedure? And the motion for the board operating procedures on page 34.
I move to approve the revisions to the board operating procedures as presented.
And a motion by Mr. Batts. Okay, second by Mr. Williams. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We will now move on to item C.
Okay, next on the
14, my
agenda,
apologies.
7D. Consider and approve resolution of Board of Trustees and transition plan to consolidate close Port Connor Elementary School. The motion is on page 44.
I move to approve the resolution of the board of trustees and the transition plan.
Can't hear you.
Port Connor Elementary School.
Have a motion by Mr. Batts. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Phillips. Any discussion? Ms. Albert?
Give her a mic. Can you hear me? Tonight we are being asked to make one of the most significant decisions this board can make. The closure of an elementary campus and the relocation of 7th and 8th grade students from Cedar to Travis Middle School. These decisions affect children, parents, employees, taxpayers, and 2 communities. They deserve more than assumptions or changing estimates. They deserve thoughtful deliberation based on a complete, accurate, and transparent information. As trustees, we have a fiduciary duty to make informed decisions. At this time, I do not believe we have been provided the information necessary to fulfill that responsibility. Our financial justification has changed. When these proposals were first presented to the board, we were told that closing Port O'Connor Elementary would save approximately $800,000 off of our budgeted $4 million deficit. Transferring Cedar 7th and 8th grade students would save approximately $500,000.
Together, we were told these proposals would save approximately $1.3 million toward addressing the district's projected $4 million budget deficit. However, during last week's budget workshop, the CFO stated that closing Port O'Connor Elementary would reduce next year's operating budget by only $18,000. Those numbers are dramatically different. If projected savings have changed from 1.3 to an $18,000 reduction in operating budget, then this board deserves a detailed explanation of what changed and why. We have not received that explanation. No comprehensive financial analysis was done. The board has never received a complete financial analysis identifying the true costs and savings associated with these proposals. To date, we have not been provided calculations that include daily transportation costs, additional bus routes, transportation for athletes and extracurricular activities, transportation home after practices, tutorials, competitions, and other after-school events, fuel costs, vehicle maintenance, tire replacement, driver salaries, staff traveling between campuses, continuing utilities, maintenance, insurance, and security costs for buildings the district will continue to own. Costs associated with accommodating additional students at receiving campuses. Without this information, we cannot honestly determine whether these proposals save money or merely shift costs from one area of the budget to another. Alternatives have not been fully evaluated. At our recent budget workshop, the superintendent presented several possible cost-saving measures, including reducing employee travel except for professional development, eliminating overtime in favor of compensatory time, ensuring all teachers hold core certifications, requiring coaches to obtain CDL license and transport students, combining bus trips to reduce transportation costs, evaluating rental agreements and facility usage, and selling district properties. Yet no financial values were attached to any of these recommendations. The board has not been told how much each proposal would save, which recommendations are practical, which recommendations have already been implemented, whether these alternatives could reduce the deficit without closing schools. If we have not quantified the savings from the alternatives identified by the superintendent himself, then we cannot honestly conclude that closing a school is the most fiscally responsible option. Closing a neighborhood school should be the last option, not the first. Staffing concerns. During last week's budget workshop, the superintendent stated that the district is currently overstaffed. If that's true, then I believe this board should understand why hiring continues while we are simultaneously being asked to close schools because of financial necessity. Before considering school closures, the board should receive information regarding positions recently added, positions that are legally required, positions that are discretionary, and alternatives such as hiring freezes, attrition, reassignment of staff, and reduction in non-instructional spending. Those analyses have not been presented to us. Educational impact. No educational impact study has been provided. Recently presented STAR data showed that Cedar students performed as well as, in several tested subjects, better than Travis Middle School. I am not bashing Travis, I'm just presenting data. If these proposals are intended to improve educational outcomes, then this board should receive objective evidence demonstrating that students would benefit academically. No such evidence has been presented. Community and economic impact. The board has not received a community impact study, an economic impact analysis, a demographic analysis, a transition plan for Seadrift, a long-range facilities study. Port O'Connor is more than a school. It is an educational center of the entire community. Likewise, removing 7th and 8th grade students from Seadrift fundamentally changes that campus and impacts enrollment, extracurricular participation, school culture, and community identity. Those impacts deserve thoughtful consideration. Lack of campus input. I am also concerned that the Seadrift principal, the administrator responsible for that campus, and most familiar with its students, staff, and families, was reportedly not involved in developing these recommendations. Meaningful input from campus leadership should be expected before recommendations of this magnitude are presented to this board. Parent notification and transition planning. Parents deserve sufficient time to prepare for major changes affecting their children. Approving these proposals so close to the beginning of the school year leaves families with little opportunity to prepare for transportation, childcare, schedules, and extracurricular activities. Good planning requires adequate notice, not last-minute decisions. Our responsibility as trustees, our responsibility is not simply to reduce a budget deficit. Our responsibility is to make informed decisions that place students first while also protecting the taxpayers' investment in this district. Today, I cannot say this board has been provided enough reliable information to make that decision. The financial projections have changed dramatically. The operational costs have not been fully analyzed. The educational benefits have not been demonstrated. The community and economic impacts have not been studied. The district continues to hire personnel after informing this board it is overstaffed. Alternative cost-saving measures have been identified but have not been quantified. And we have not been provided sufficient information to compare those alternatives with the permanent closure of a community school and the relocation of students. In conclusion, closing Port O'Connor Elementary and removing 7th and 8th grade students from Seadrift are decisions that cannot be easily undone. Before taking actions that permanently affect students, families, employees, and our communities, we owe the public complete transparency and sound financial analysis. Until this board receives a comprehensive financial analysis, a transportation cost study, a community and economic impact assessment, an educational impact analysis, a staffing plan, a comparison of all available cost-saving alternatives, and a realistic implementation and transition plan, I cannot support these recommendations. I respectfully urge this board to postpone action until we have the information necessary to fulfill our fiduciary responsibility to the students, taxpayers, and community we were elected to serve through the 26-27 school year. And Mr. Cardwell, I'm asking you, based on the above data, is this your recommendation as CEO of CCISD to close to close Port O'Connor and transfer 7th and 8th grade?
Yes, based on the data that I've been provided, moving forward for long-term sustainability, yes, ma'am.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor of 7D, approving the resolution of the Board of Trustees transfer plan to consolidate and close Port O'Connor Elementary School. All in favor? Would you please raise your hand and vote? All in favor? Mr. Rossi? Okay. We have all against? All against? 2, yeah. Motion carries.
Why don't you take a cut in your pay, sir?
We are moving now to,
And this one over here needs to go back to San Antonio.
please sit down or you'll be asked to leave the area. Ma'am, I'm warning you one time. Sit down, be quiet, or you will be removed.
Remove us, why don't you?
I just have one question. I don't know how Dana voted.
She's sleeping, she's talking to somebody.
Voting, did you vote yes, Dana, on that? Mr. Rossi, did you vote yes? Where's Marcus?
Mr. Strader, ask that one more time.
Dana, did you vote yes or no?
Yes, sadly.
There she is. She voted yes.
How was your dinner?
Did they post this meeting and everything on time, exactly right?
No.
No, they did not.
They did not. Have you brought that up?
Again.
Would you bring that up, please?
I'm going to ask for everyone to sit down and be quiet or you will be removed.
We're going to ask you to change your vote.
You just changed everybody's lives in this room one way or another.
I want you to look at this child right now.
Cindy, could you bring that up for us, please?
Unacceptable.
We are going back to regular agenda item 7E now. Discuss and consider consolidation of grades 7 and 8 Seadrift School to Travis Middle School. The recommendation is on page 51.
I move to consolidate grades 7th and 8th in Cedar School to Travis Middle School.
Motion by Mr. Betts. Second by Mr. Phillips. Any discussion?
I do have a couple things to say on that. I got my microphone.
So Seadrift, if y'all will remember in our budget lot workshop last week, Seadrift was not even brought up. There was no cost savings whatsoever. There was nothing mentioned of Seadrift last week at the meeting. No cost savings, and if Port O'Connor went from 800,000 to 18,000, we weren't given data in the difference of Seadrift. So Seadrift has had nothing, absolutely nothing brought up since the June meeting. And again, my opinion, we're being irresponsible because we do not have the data to make the decisions. Members.
Any other discussion? Want to call for the vote? All in favor of moving the 7th and 8th grade students from Seadrift to Travis? Aye. Your vote, Mr. Rossi? Mr. Rossi votes no. All against? 3. Okay. Motion carries 4-3. Ms. Martinez for the budget workshop. We're in the middle of a meeting. Mr. Monroy?
STEM program earlier this afternoon.
No,
Thought it was
they'll
a great
probably use it
idea.
in Port Lavaca now. Yeah. They'll take our information and use it somewhere else.
Mr. Monroy? Sir?
It's an honest question. How is my kid supposed to get to Travis in 23 days? I have no idea. I know the secret. Injury. I have a 7th and 8th grader.
How far is it to? Sorry.
Yeah. Vincent can't tell you. You don't know. Michael Williams hasn't said a word this whole time. He's just there to follow. They're not lead. Mr. Schrader, you got a lot of followers, but they don't need to be following you. They're picking the wrong person.
Okay, Mr. Schrader, I think it's my turn.
Mr. Wilson?
You guys got the compensation plan with the memo last week. This is not going to be voted on tonight. It's going to be voted on by August the 3rd. Our hope was to provide it all in one complete package. In the past, we've given you stipends at one meeting. We've given you salaries at another meeting. We gave you the substitute rates at another meeting. So we try to get it all in one comprehensive package so that you guys can make a good decision on what we're doing moving forward. So hopefully this is going to be explained. We are one of the few districts that have used scales for all of our positions. Teacher scales make sense because it's based on a tiered, and depending on your years of service, you're placed on that schedule. It kind of makes it more difficult for us to hire different kind of positions like administrators, librarians, counselors, nurses, clerical, custodial with that scale. So I am proposing that we go to this midpoint maximum salary schedule. You will you'll see that in a few minutes. I think our antiquated scales in the past have bound our experience, and it really didn't let us give hiring qualifications. Like if someone had their master's or whatever, we couldn't give them extra for having experience or degrees. So this was our way of saying, and most school districts in Texas do use this mid-max process. So if you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to ask me. I did include our salary schedule for the teachers. I also included the teacher incentive allotment because our compensation plan is going to be changing for this year. Most districts do not pay that extra 12%. The teachers pay that, and that has to be approved by the board in our compensation plan. So I did include what TEA has published. We also have it on our website. There is one correction on that. If you look at the third paragraph, most districts pay in June, so that was June, but our district pays on August 3rd, whatever that first meeting is in August. So if you would make that correction. It says at the top, teacher incentive allotment designation amount. I should probably page number this so it'd be easier to understand. The third paragraph down says the net allotment amount received by the teacher in June. It should say August. Some of the questions that we get are, what does the district do with the 10%? So you can see that we have said in there that we will retain 10% by the district. For 25-26, we use that to pay the benefits. For 26-27, which is what you're approving, the 10% will go to pay for ICEV, which is the program that we're using to do the testing for CTE. It will go to pay for Exploros, the NWA map testing, any calibration training that we need to do to get our T-test and T-test observers aligned, because it's very important that they're all on the same calibration. And then we also use that 10% to pay Cruise Consulting. She's the person that helps us with our handbook and also all of our designations. The next few pages are the midpoint max schedules for each of the different job grades. The last page is also for child nutrition, because we will be doing our own hiring for child nutrition this year. The stipends and extracurricular duty pay is the next page. There's only one change this year, and you guys should have gotten a color copy. I know it's hard to look at, but for golf, they want to split that. The stipend did not grow up, it did not go down, it's just the two that are going to be split. The golf, yes sir. Last year, the head golf was, I think it was 5,500 and 3,500, so we're just adding. Yes, exactly. It's the same amount, we just split it. The next page is our sub pay, and then the other compensation that we provide with insurance, reduced housing, the opportunity for teacher incentive allotment. Again, there's no action for this item. It's just informational for you guys, and then hopefully on August the 3rd we can get it approved. So, only contractual salary increases this year. We haven't. Right. That will be determined by the board. August 3rd.
The state mandate, there's going to be the teachers that move from 3-year to 4-year will get the 4,000, and then the teachers that move from 4 to 5 will get the additional 4,000 to meet the state mandate. That is state mandated. Yeah, I didn't present, this is the only part of the budget workshop. The reason I'm not presenting anything today is because my data has not changed since last time I presented the budget workshop, because I still don't have my values to do the revenue side of it. So right now, I have no changes, so you guys will see additional changes on the 3rd for the complete budget and the recommendation to approve this. And
who will recommend whether we do a salary increase or if we're doing a salary increase?
that would come from the board. That's a question that I'll present at the next board meeting, because we need that sooner than later so I can have time to, because we're going to have to pass the budget on the 17th, so it's going to be early, so the sooner the better. But right now I need a recommendation. You can give me a recommendation at this point if you guys want to, for me to. No, it would be like you guys decide if you want to, in the past at board meetings, you decide if you would like me to explore options of raising. Like, what would a 2% cost us and stuff like that. That's the recommendation from the board for me to explore options and then present you options.
So does it need to set us
That would be, yes. That would be really good. I was going to present that on the 3rd, but if you guys are willing to explore that now, that would really help so I can give you more accurate data From what I've gathered from some other conversations, that in our deficit budget, that we weren't going to present raises at this time, only the state mandated and contractually obligated raises.
And how many contractually obligated employees do we have?
One.
So could that contractual
Apologies about the interruption there. We're going to take another short little quick second here.
But
Apologies.
category or anything like that. Right now, all I am budgeting is the state mandate and the contractual obligated rate. That's the only thing that's increasing the budget at this point. In the compensation plan, we did add at the end of the compensation plan that mid-year retention stipend, that should the district financial position improve during the fiscal year, the Board of Trustees may consider approving a one-time mid-year retention stipend for eligible employees. Any such stipend is subject to availability of funding, board approval, and is not guaranteed. And that is just put in there in case some situation changes. It's at the very last page of the compensation plan. It's worded, so when we approve the compensation plan, that has to be in there for you guys to do, consider anything major. That's the only reason that word is in there. So I guess at this time, I'm asking the board, would you like me to explore other options pertaining to pay? So so what I'm going to do is only budget off of the mandated rate. Any changes? Yes. And any changes you're going to see, there's going to be changes because of years of experience and stuff like that. So the salaries will change from last year, either up or down, but that's because of the shifting of personnel. Of people that left and people that are coming in, depending on their years of experience and stuff like that. But there will not be any raises included in that except for the state mandated contractual obligation. Yes. Do you have any questions for me or Ms. Tolman?
Mr. Bass, that's just a one-time, I don't know if you saw that, but that's just a one-time of a little stipend. Things.
Questions on the compensation plan. If you guys have any questions or concerns or anything, please reach out to us so we can make the adjustments and talk about it on the next board meeting. Got the next information item, which is our quarterly investment report as of May 31st. This is a report that you guys have seen several times. And on page 55, our quarterly yield, the average for our portfolio, the yield is 3.36 basis points with 3.36%. Fiscal average is 3.44%. So it's kind of, it's holding, it is dropping a little bit. I'm seeing some drop in rates as things renew, we're not getting as high a rates on our CDs and stuff. The majority of our funds now, if you notice up top, they're kept in money markets and investment pools. I think the last time I explained what an investment pool is, there's certain companies that invest school district money from the state of Texas. They're well known. There's several investment pools right now we're involved in two. It's called Tex Pool and Lone Star. And they have a bigger, I hate saying it like this, but a bigger bang for your buck because they invest a lot larger capacity. So they're able to shop more for higher rates. So we get higher rates. I'm finding that the pools are getting higher even from the CDs that I can market or that I can shop for. So I'm shifting a lot of our funds into the pools as our CDs come open, and it's also readily available. I can request funds from the pool today and get it by tomorrow. CDs, of course, I have to wait. It's tied in there, and we have to wait until that matures. There's Tex Pool and Lone Star. So right now in our pools and money markets and stuff like that, we have $29,565,000 as of the end of May. Our CDs and securities, we're sitting at $14,398,000. If we move on, of course, the next pages, you're going to have some visuals for you to see how the market's going, this historical treasury and stuff like that. It's just kind of giving you some information on the market. And then the next, on page 57, it's just kind of a breakdown of where our funds are. Prosperity Bank is our depository bank, which means that's where we do all our main banking in Peru. They have to bid for that, and we award that to them, and it's over several years that we keep Prosperity. And actually, they were the only bank that did bid on our depository bid this last year. It's very expensive to keep government money because they have to secure it by 101%. So a lot of times, like the investment that a bank makes into the school district, it actually costs them money. And then down below, you have Southside. That's a small money market that we have. I've kept it there because the interest rate, as you can see, is pretty much, it's on the higher side. We don't have that much money in there because they won't let me shift any more money into that account. Then we have Next Bank. That's another money market. But I found that the pools are staying about competitive with Next Bank. Next Bank has in the past had the majority of our funding, but they shut us down because they ran out of capacity to accept any more money. But they have recently sent some information to me saying they're allowed to accept some more funding. So I'll probably, looking at the interest rate, maybe shift some more money into that money market. The CDs, I'm kind of shifting away from the CDs because, of course, that locks us in for a year or however long. If it's short term and the interest rates are very appealing, I'll put it in there short term, but I don't want to put anything in there long term because for a little while there was talk amongst the banks and stuff that the volatility of the market was going up and down, so there was really no steady. And I didn't want to lock our money in at a low rate and then they shoot up, or vice versa. So CDs, I'm a little bit swaying away from because we can still get about what we're getting from the CDs in the pools and also Next Bank without that, locking our funds down for that long of a time. And then if you go to page 58, that's just kind of visuals again. You can see 67% of our funding is in the money markets and pools. And then we have 33% of the securities in CDs. And then it's just, the basic same information. It's just different ways to look at it on these few pages. And the very last page, on page 60, That one is where it splits up where our money is. You see on that first column, operating, we have 34 million in the bank as of right now. Of course, that's going to keep on steadily decreasing until we get our tax revenue back again in February. And then you have cafeteria general, and so on and so forth, stock. And then payroll and general dispersing, those, right now they're showing a balance in there, but usually that clears out of there. Those are just clearing accounts. It's kind of a wash account. We put money in it, run payroll, and then it goes right back out. So it usually has close to a zero balance in the payroll and general dispersing because it's just kind of a flow in, flow out kind of funding. Activity funds, those are the funds that the students and the fundraisers go into. That's something that is ran by the schools for their fundraisings, and the students decide how to spend that money. And then, of course, interest in seeking, that is our bond. And then our construction right now. In construction, we have $5.4 million in there. Is there any questions about the investment report? It's usually, it runs about 2.5 average. Well, I can move money in and out there. But yeah, that one, the prosperity, we're at 2.3. That's just because the payroll was ran. And that's probably, yes, that's about a month of payroll sitting there until it gets, people cash their checks, and it's going to come right out of there. That money, I guess in other words, that money that's sitting there with general dispersing in payroll, that's money that's already obligated to be spent.
They are now entering into closed session. Thank you for everyone who stopped by to watch. Please share the video and also make sure you like it. Thank you.